Welcome to Resell Radio. My name is Nick. I'm the co-founder of Hustle, a place where sellers come together to share their story, to give tips and their experiences to help you along the way in your journey. As well as that, we're giving out little tips. We're trying to add value in any way to you to make your lives easier and better in running your reselling store. So whether that is giving the tips, whether it is running this podcast, sharing suppliers, no matter what it is, let us know and we're going to try and bring that to you. With no further ado, today on the podcast we have got Jack, aka liquidgarms, the man with over 1,000 sales on Depop, around 3,500 followers on Instagram and a properly engaged audience. But I'm just going to let him do the talking. Let's get straight into the podcast.
Right, so basically it's I started off, I want to say now 2018, the summer 2018. The old man took me to my first ever car boot, and he mainly goes to get all of his fishing gear, so he likes his fishing, so we'll go and get some fishing bait and all that malarkey. And I just happened to like walk around with him around the car boot and just finding loads of like nice little gems. So there was a couple like Nike t-shirts and all that shaz. But I say my Depop originally started selling my own clothes out my wardrobe, like what most people tend to do. I watched a YouTuber called Sick Mate back in the day. He uploaded his trip to the thrifts. He had a Depop page, Rooks and Rivals, and it basically kind of stemmed from there. I was watching him. I saw that he was going to like the charity shops and that, and I kind of took inspiration and flew off from him. Basically, went to this car boot back in 2018, found a couple of nice bits. And yeah, I didn't do it as seriously at first. I was underneath a different name. It was Thriftgarms UK. A bit of a dead name when I think about it now. I went under that name for a little bit. But yeah, it's basically just started off from a YouTuber called Sick Mate.
Yeah. And how much money did you start with? Is it something you just went in, just bought a couple of things, or did you like set aside a big chunk of money and just go for it?
Well, originally, I want to say I started off with around about like £100, give or take. I remember my first week out, I thought I'd hit up a couple of charity shops, just like this geezer on YouTube does. And I did find some decent stuff. I found a couple like Adidas bits, just the standard t-shirts, what I would call nowadays as stock fillers. Back then, I thought were absolute gems. So it was like Adidas t-shirts and stuff like that. And yeah, I want to say around about £100. I remember I was saving up loads of stock. I must have had about 40 items, and I just listed them all at once on a weekend. And I want to say around about £100 I started with.
So how did that develop then? You took that £100 and reinvested it, or did you start pumping money in?
Well, I work currently. I'm sorry, I got. Oh, fuck's sake. You know, Callum's cupboard's phoning me. Let's see what he wants. Hang on. What do you want, mate?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we did.
I'm doing a podcast, Hustle Reselling podcast.
With Nathan?
Huh?
With Nathan?
No, with Nick.
Oh, make sure it's more interesting than Culture Forces.
I'll try my hardest, mate. I'll buy you back afterwards, all right?
You have fun.
Sounds a bit.
Later.
Sorry about that. Just.
Featuring cupboard.
What's that, sorry?
Sorry, in the title saying featuring Callum's cupboard.
Oh, there you go. He's got his little feature. He's got his little 20 seconds. I'll get you a little IGTV clip there.
Seconds of
Yeah.
Anyway, you're saying what would happen? So you got your stock, you put it all up in one, and then what happened from there? You were working, and I'm assuming you're saying you're going to started putting money into it from there.
Yeah, well, I work. I still actually work this job now. I don't do this full time. I work a retail job. About 25 hours a week, so I was getting a bit of cash from that, paying all my bills. Anything I had left over, I was just pumping straight into liquidgarms. So I was literally, my pay packet was coming through, I was paying my bills, and about 80% of what I had left over I just pumped straight back in. And I tried to pump as much as possible into the brand, obviously, and try and grow it as quickly as possible, which I must say isn't like it's ideal, but it's not the best thing you can probably do to try and grow your brand. Because obviously you lose track on how much money you're spending and how much you're making. Back in the day, I weren't doing it as proper as I'd like to say I'm trying to do now. It was literally just I'd lose track on how much I was pumping loads of money in, and it's just the money going in and the money going out. I weren't tracking it, so it's one of the big mistakes I made back in the day, which I know I won't nowadays. But
Did you not start with the spreadsheet then? Did you have to go back and try and work everything out? Because we made the same mistake where we often, just because there was like 10, 20 items, we were looking at them. All right, cool. That's the red Tommy jumper. That's the blue North Face. And we're just in our head, we know, okay, they bought that for that much, sold it for that much. And then money is just in the PayPal. So we know we've got money. And then we got like 6 months in, realized that we have no idea what's going on in the website. Like, don't make sense. This one could have been bought for 40, could have been bought for £10. We don't know. Don't know what to sell it for. And now we're having to go back over 6 months, try and work out all the money and all the inventory we've had. And it killed us. It was so tough. And I think we ended up losing out on a lot of money as well. Well, I say losing. We thought we had more money. And ended up fucking up. I just want to know what you did.
Literally is what I was in. I was just losing track of what I was doing. So like I'd pump a big load of money in at the start of the month. Then at the end of the month, I would have half as many items on my page. I'd have like sold loads of items, and then that money is just like vanished. I don't know where it's gone. I don't know what I've spent it on. I don't know what I've done with it. It's just over time. And I was kind of like, wasn't keeping like my work's wages and this money separate. I was kind of mingling it all into one. So we like, for example, if I was to go out and get something to eat or something to eat or a drink or something like that, I don't know what that's coming out of. I could have sold a sweatshirt that day and it could have come out of that money. I haven't got a clue. That's for like I want to say for the first 5 months, I was full on. I hadn't had a Scooby about my spending. I was just a newbie to the block. I didn't know anyone. And I kind of like tried to jump in the deep end without any knowledge. And obviously, it can backfire big time.
So that's one of the things that you do now. I'm assuming you got your account for your Depop, you got your own account which you have your wages paid into. What else has changed? I mean, there's some sort of spreadsheet or inventory system.
Yeah, I've got spreadsheets at the moment to calculate obviously how much money I'm bringing in compared to how much I'm taking out. And I've got separate accounts for obviously my personal money coming in from my work and then my money coming in from liquidgarms. So it's all in separate accounts, and it's a lot easier to keep track of what you're doing. So I have a spreadsheet for stock inventory, so I know what I've got in stock at the moment, and I've got it all on a spreadsheet. And I've also got a spreadsheet to work out how much I'm making that month and how much obviously I'm losing per item. And it's a lot easier compared to obviously handwritten spreadsheets and stuff like that, what people do. So much easier.
Yeah. Do you use like Google Sheets or well?
I use Google Sheets. Yeah, I try to use Excel, but my computer's just absolutely hating Excel for some reason. It crashes, it buffered the whole lot. So I just went to Google Spreadsheets. I've got the app on my phone, so I can do it on the go and stuff like that. And it's so easy.
Yeah, because I think this is something that some people really need to hear. Literally this week had 3, maybe 4 conversations about people saying that they have no idea what's going on in their business. It helped out. So I think to hear more people say it will let these people finally jump on it. But I think the other thing you mentioned there that was like that we've not really had before. We've talked to a lot of people that are full time. We've not talked to a lot of people that I do it myself as well, where you work a job and you do this on the side, because obviously this can be a big thing. People can do it full time, they can make a lot of money, and it can take a lot of time. To be able to be putting in 25 hours a week into a completely different job where you have no chance of doing anything towards your business can take its toll. So how do you deal with that?
It does take its toll, I will be honest. At the moment, the role I'm in at my job at the moment, I'm sitting on around about 30 to 35 hours a week, give or take. So I could be working that job 5 days a week, 5 full days a week. And then I could be doing my Depop in the evenings, and it does take its toll. Luckily, my retail job is in the town centre. So it would be like on my lunch breaks, I would go out and go to the post office. So I'd be walking to work with a massive load of parcels under my arm. On my lunch breaks, I'll be going to the post office. So I'll be like kind of wasting my lunch break. So it does take its toll, that's for sure. It's just at the moment, obviously, I'm not at the stage where I'm comfortable of doing this full time just yet. I want to say I'm not far off it, but I just think if I can build up a bit of cash from my work in the background saved up, just in case worse comes to worse, it's probably the best thing you can do. Because the worst thing you can do with this is just jump into it full time, and then it could, you don't know what's going to happen from there.
That's the thing. When you jump into this, anything self-employed fluctuates. It goes up and down. You can't just wait. Say you need 1,500 a month, you can't wait until it hits 1,500 on that first month and be like, all right, cool, next month I'm doing it, because you might end up getting 800. And then
Yeah.
what are you going to?
It's completely out of your hands. If you're relying on this as a full-time job and you're just about making enough to live on, it's too unreliable in my eyes. Like at the moment, I'm on around that range where I can live off it. It's just I'm not at that stage where I'm comfortably living off it. So that's why I'm still working my job, just to give me a bit of backup in the background, just in case worse does come to worse. Because everyone has them. They have a bad week, or they might even have a bad month in general. So you need to have that little bit of a backup, especially like if you're a smallish seller. I've seen sellers that have only had like 300 sales and haven't got a lot of stock, quit their job and jump into this full time. And then they've just completely, I'm not going to be rude and say they've flopped, but they've just haven't took it into perspective, and it's just gone downhill, and they just end up like going back to square one, basically.
So do you have a certain like goal that you're looking for to hit before you do take it full time?
Ideally, I had my first goal of 1,000 sales, which I hit the other day. Yeah, it was 1,000 sales which hit the other day. And basically, what I want to do, ideally, is I want to be earning enough money to live off and a bit more in order to leave my full-time job. Which I want to say, give or take, the months that are going on at the moment and the weeks. I've had some good weeks and I've had some bad weeks. So it's at the moment I can't predict it, but if I had to, I'd say, hopefully aiming for around about August, September time. I can leave my proper job and I can focus on this full time, because you have to take that risk though, because I'm not putting 110% into this, because I've got another job that I've got to prioritize before this one. So I feel like once I've left that full-time job and I'm basically full steam ahead with liquidgarms itself, I can hopefully build up a brand sustainable enough and big enough to, keep me going, basically.
So going back to what you said before, where like you're going out on your lunch times to do deep. Like, I had that myself when I was working on a scaffolding yard, and everyone would go down to the cafe and have a drink, have a laugh, and have their food. Meanwhile, I'm driving into town to go to the post office, post something, and then running back before it's time to start again. And meanwhile, whilst I'm walking to my car, I'm scoffing down some tuna pasta. Yeah. Really, all of your time when you're doing this, it's no joke. And if you want to go full time, I don't think it's something you can avoid. I imagine you've done that on your lunch times, and then every day you're coming home to take pictures, upload, respond to messages, refresh a page. Do you have any way that either you deal with it mentally, or you make it so instead of spreading it out and it takes all this time, you manage to take your activities and make them a lot more efficient?
So the mental side to it, luckily I'm at a stage where I'm enjoying what I'm doing. Like, I enjoy my main job and I enjoy my second job. I'll call this my second job because it's another source of income. I'm enjoying both of them at the same time. But for example, I've packaged a load of orders today. I'm in tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. I've got a delivery in the morning I've got to deal with at work. So I'll be trotting down the street at R5 with parcels under my arm, finish work at like 1:30, trotting off to the post office. So it's literally like a daily thing. I want to say I don't get days off, in a sense. I don't like to have days off, because my days off from my main job I'm spent doing on obviously liquidgarms. So literally it's, at the moment it's non-stop. However, obviously in the future I'd like to change that big time. But like you were saying, it was
like a love for the clothes. They always start off as a love for the clothes, and then you enjoyed the reselling, having all these clothes coming through. Was that love always there, and then the money came?
Yeah, I just really like the vintage scene in general, because obviously me being a big lad, you can see that clearly. Nowadays, you can rock into Sports Direct and pick up a nice t-shirt. It's all slim fit stuff, isn't it? So it's not like tailored for me in general. The vintage stuff is built towards like a baggy side of things, just the fits of it in general. I used to like wearing vintage clothing as a personal preference, obviously before the money thing of it. I used to wear it for a good 2 years prior to doing the Depop page. And then I kind of like just stemmed from there. I thought, I watched obviously this YouTuber, like I said, I saw that he was into the same clothes I was in, and it kind of like stemmed. It was like A and B worked together really well. And I thought, I'm enjoying what I'm doing. I like the clothes that I'm finding. And obviously having a bit of background experience, knowing about the vintage clothing, I kind of know what I'm looking for and what I'm not looking for when I go out charity shopping, car booting, etc., etc. So it's a good little bit of, background to have on it.
No, yeah, that sounds good. So it came from the love, money came to it, and now for what, 2.5 years ahead, you've hit 1,000 sales.
Yeah, I know.
What's
I feel like I've
pick? What else has changed? Like,
what's that, sorry?
how you run your business. You know what to pick now. You're saying you got your experience in the car boot sales. What else has changed about your business?
Just think overall now I'm taking things like a bit quicker now, because I was like slowing it down from the start. I wasn't like going insane with it. Like I wouldn't like list stuff every day. I would list stuff once every 2 weeks. Now I like to span my listings out. So if I've got a good, let's say 30 items packed up, I like to spread them out between a couple of days. Whereas before I just smash them all out in one day and then let that run throughout the week. Now I will list like 5 things on a Monday, 5 things on a Tuesday, etc., etc., and it kind of just slows it out and just brings the freshening items to the page. Just basically new stock every day, and it just keeps the flow going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's not, when you want to go full time and you want to really kill the depot business, it is serious. Like, it is every single day. Because I think this is a lovely thing. I think you can really enjoy it, and it can be something which is really efficient. You don't have to put too much time in. If you want to make money out of this and you want this to be a career, then yeah, like you're saying, it's every single day.
Yeah, you can't stop doing it at all. You need to take every day as it goes. The next day might be different. One day you can get 5 sales. You can go a couple of days without getting a sale. You just can't let that get to you, because you know at the end of the day, you could go a full week without making a sale. Then the following week you could go a full week of making double the sales. So it kind of like plays back on itself. As long as you can keep at a steady pace and you can accept the days that are like bad days, because everyone's going to have bad days. I've gone, weeks without one sale at one point when I was on like 500 sales. So it weren't even like when I was small. I've got like a good following. I've been weeks without a sale, and it's just like the worst thing you can do, which is what I've done in the past. I've fell for it in the past. Is you go a certain amount of time without making a sales, and then you start dropping prices on items to try and make sales. It's the worst thing you can do. It's just, it can affect you so much, because it gets in your head. You think, I haven't had a sale in ages, blah blah blah, my page is like dying, what can I do? And it kind of just goes into panic station. You start reducing loads of items, selling stuff for really cheap just so you can get your sales up. And it's not the way, really. Obviously sales is key, but if you don't make many sales, you could sell 10 things that average up to about £100, or you can sell 2 things that average up to £100. Regardless, it's the money that counts more than the sales, basically, in my eyes.
Yeah, I'd agree with you there. And that is a powerful message, because you and I have been doing this since 2018. So when those days come and you've got 2, 3, maybe 4 days in a row with no sales, you can say to yourself, just one of those times. I was killing it before, it's going to pick back up. When you're new and you've made, say, only 50 sales, or maybe you've only made 300 sales, like, that could happen and it can really shake you. And you get to that point where you drop the prices because you think that's the only way that it's going to pick back up. But sometimes just take that patience, and that comes with experience. The same way you can buy better clothes, because you've got the experience, you've seen what's worked, you've seen what hasn't.
Exactly that, mate.
So you're also pretty big on Instagram. You've grown a following for your Depot page, and a very engaged following as well. So how did that start, or wherever you want to take that, really?
Well, I'm going to take you back now to, because you've obviously seen my Instagram page. People know me as the guy that does these wacky edits on clothing. I can't just take a photo of a clothing on a white background and stick it on Insta. I've got to do something jazzy with it. And that's kind of stemmed back to, like, back in the day, I did used to be quite a fairly decent sized graphics designer for like YouTubers. Back in the day, I used to make YouTube banners for some of the big YouTubers back then. Obviously, some of them aren't as well known nowadays. But I was on Twitter, I had a portfolio, and I was making money back in the day. I was making peanuts back in the day. I weren't like a massive GFX designer, but I was big enough to, catch the eye of some of the bigger YouTubers, some with like 300k, 400k subs, and I was making them like YouTube thumbnails and all that malarkey. And it's kind of, I've always had like a graphics background since then, and I just thought, what can make my page stand out from other people's pages? And I thought, well, I'll give it a go. I don't actually use Photoshop. There's an app on my phone called PhotoFox. So everything you see on my Instagram page is made off an iPhone app, basically. It's just, I've got the graphics background, so I kind of know little, in and outs about it, like what you can do. And it's literally just Google Images and an iPhone app. It's as easy as that.
That's really impressive, because I'm sure I recommend everyone to go check out your page right now. The aesthetics on your Instagram are like it is what makes you stand out. And I'm just interested, how much time does it take? One Instagram post, I'm assuming you probably get your picture from your Depop, or at the same time you're taking your Depop pictures. But then the editing itself, how long does that take you?
Well, I would like to say it depends how picky I want to be, basically, with my edits. Because at the moment, I take my photos hanging, mainly due to the fact that I ain't got much space to do flat lays, and the lighting isn't the best for flat lays, because I've only got one softbox light. My other one broke, so I've had to go to hanging photos while I'm waiting for a new one to come. So what I would do is I would hang all my photos, take photos of my stock, and then I would take one photo of it flat laid on the floor. And I would do anything for lighting. I'd go into any room in the house that's got the best lighting, whether it was the living room. My nan would be on the sofa watching Coronation Street. It'd be like, excuse me, nan, let me take a photo of this Diodora sweatshirt or something. And it would literally be any good lighting in the house. And then I'd just jump over to Photo Fox on my phone, import it straight from there. And depending on how picky I want to be, it can be anywhere from, I want to say, 10 to 15 minutes. I can probably push out an edit. There's some nights, depending on what I've got to list, if I've got like quite a few cool things to list, I'll take loads of photos and pump out a solid hour on a load of edits in the evening, and then that will kind of keep me going for the majority of the week. So, but it does get to a stage where I look at my phone, I think, oh no, I ain't got nothing to post on Instagram. So I kind of have to like dig back and look through like old photos and see if I've done an edit on an item of clothing in the past. If I haven't, then I'll quickly rustle something up, because I try and keep a consistent theme on there of daily posting. It's kind of what I think works to keep the algorithm going for Instagram, is the more you post, keeps the flow going, and it's try and post at the same time. I tend to.
Yeah. What else goes into your Instagram strategy? Because you have what, like 3,500?
Yeah, 3.5.
Yeah, and you've got a very engaged audience as well. Like, people really tune in to what you're doing. I've seen the battle that you and Callum have had, which we'll get into. But what's your strategy? What do you try and plan for, say, your week or your month of Instagram?
I kind of just take it day by day, really. I kind of go off what stock I've got. There's some times where I've like bought stock online purposely for an Instagram photo, not like bought stock knowing I can't make money off it. I found something, and before I even press buy, I think to myself, oh, that would look good on Instagram, that would. And just little bits like that. But I try and do little things on my story. So like to engage with your followers, you can do little Q&As on there. You can do your polls on there. Try to just engage with your followers. And at the moment, I'm trying to go down the route of doing a couple live streams, just so people can get familiar with my face and know who is behind the account. I done a meet the sellers post. And obviously just so people can get a rough idea, who is behind the account, and then I can do a couple IRL videos if I need to, of me going around and showing what I've got from charity shops, car boots, etc. And try and go down that road of like, it's me, it's my page, it's not just like a random person behind the screen, so that people know who they're talking to. So at the moment I'm doing a little trial and error of a couple live streams, just seeing how it goes, and maybe even a couple IGTV videos could come out of it. So
yeah, because I don't know if you've ever been in sales yourself. I've been in sales for maybe like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, but I know people that are in sales, and one of the first things they always tell you is that people buy from people. Like, the fact that if you could build this relationship with your customer, which is possible over Instagram, through your Q&A, through putting your face out there, the live streams, then people want to come to Liquid Garms. People want to buy off you. They don't want to go to these other people. They might be able to get £5 off it, or whatever it is that someone else can do that you're not doing. They don't care, because they want you to benefit. And I think that's one of the biggest parts of Instagram that not everyone capitalizes on.
No. Yeah, like you say, how I see it is, if I want returning customers to come back, I don't want them to know me as Liquid Garms. I want them to know me as Jack on a personal level. So like, they can message me saying like, hey Jack, instead of like, hey Liquid Garms. It's nice to get your face out there. They know they know who you're buying off. And they just basically know him as a friend, as more of like a customer. And that's the key to getting them coming back. You be nice to him, you see him as a friend, you like a couple of their photos, and just try and get back to them on like a friendship level. And then that's what keeps the customers coming back, from what I've seen from experience in the past. Definitely.
Have you been able to transfer some of the people from Depop to Instagram and obviously avoid those fees, and at the same time not have to message them on Depop to tell them to come to Instagram, so you don't have any risk of having your account banned?
I think everyone's done that. Everyone's been a bit naughty now and then to try and dodge the fees if you're selling on like an expensive item. I think mine would have been like back in last year. I was selling some puffer coats for like £90 all in a piece. Some dead stock night ones that I picked up, and I don't want to pay the £10 fee, so I would send them over to my Depop. I'd say to them like, "Oh, yeah, do you want some more photos? I'll send you a DM. You message me on Instagram, and then we'll just go from there." But there's only a couple of times
where you've got your returning customers, the ones that you've engaged with, and they've already bought from you. So say someone's bought from you on Depop, and they've found you as liquidgarms on Instagram. You've now built that relationship. They've seen your face. They know Jack. Jack's liked a few of their photos. They've had a little discussion in the DMs. And now they come back to you and they're like, "Oh, I see you're selling that Tommy Hilfiger piece on your Depop. How much is that?" Sort of thing. And then you've actually managed to get them straight on the Instagram. So there's no risk on the Depop because you've not sent that message, but they've come straight to you because they built that relationship. Has that happened?
It's happened a couple of times, yes, because as most sellers do nowadays, it's a good little strategic way of doing it, is you have your little business cards in with your parcels. So it will say like, "Follow me on Instagram" and stuff like that. The chances of them actually doing it is actually not that high, surprisingly, but it's just as long as it's there, you're doing your part. And it has actually happened a couple of times, and it will be beneficial. So you'll get someone who's bought off you. You can leave them feedback on Depop saying, "Hey, thanks for buying off me. Go check out my Instagram," etc. They can drop you a follow, and it has happened. Some girls messaged me. I've put an edit up of a Tommy Hilfiger thing on my page, which is also being listed on my Depop at the same time, and they've messaged me saying, "Oh, hey, can I buy this?" So it's the cheeky, "Oh yeah, PayPal, goods and services. Keep it safe."
Yeah,
you can do that.
You've got the reviews on the Depop to leave it, and the business cards as well, because obviously Depop can't really pick up on that. What do you write on your business card to let them follow you?
Basically, it's just the standard, like, "Thank you for your purchase. Don't forget to check out our social medias," and all that stuff. And I'll link them my Facebook, and I'll link them the Instagram. And it's just a simple, clean message, nothing too much going on. Just a standard, like, business card size little thing to put in the package.
Fair enough. All right, now getting on to you and Callum, because I've seen you two, and actually the business card leads on perfectly. I've seen you two destroying each other's business cards in many, many ways. So what's it with Callum, and how did it get to the point where you're getting each other's business cards run over by cars and trains?
Basically, it all stemmed off from, it was completely out of the blue. I can remember the day like it was yesterday. I was at work, my phone pinged off, and he mentioned me in a story. I can't remember what it was I sold to him, but obviously he bought something off me, and I just chucked a business card, as I do standard with all my other parcels, regardless of who it is. Obviously, I know he always follows me on Instagram anyway, but you just do it. It comes like a little habit at the moment. So I threw my business card, I sent it to him, he was happy, blah, blah, blah. And it just completely out of the blue, I got tagged in his story, and it just started off with him just throwing it in the bin. So I was like, okay, right, this is a bit interesting. So that was kind of, we've got a story highlights on our page. It's a bit sad, but at the same time, we're hoping to make it a bit of like a monthly thing to try and grow it as a bit of extra content for the page. So it started off from him throwing it in the bin. So I obviously came over from my work. I thought, right, I've bought stuff off him. I've got some of his business cards lying around somewhere. And I found one. And then the following day, just before my shift at work, I found a muddy puddle, thought I'd chuck it in the puddle, stomp on it and mess it up, tagged him on the story. And since then, it's just been a back and forth thing. And sometimes I think we just buy stuff off each other just to get a business card, just to keep the content going. So it's just a back and forth thing basically from now. And obviously it stemmed to recently, he got mine ran over by his mate's car going 60 miles an hour. So I was like, how can I top that? I thought, okay, I ain't got a 60 mile an hour sports car I can run his car over with. So I just thought, what could I do to try and up that? And I was thinking in my head, I thought, do I like just go completely berserk, attach it to like a firework and set it off? It was around New Year's time. So I thought, they've got to be selling fireworks in Lidl's. No, they don't. I thought, here we go. What am I doing? So I just stuck it on the train track at the level crossing, hanged around for a little bit, looking all sus, waiting for a train to come into the station. Saw one coming. I thought, perfect, get this on the snap. I thought he can't come back from that, surely. And since then, at the moment, I like to think I'm in the lead with that one, but I don't know what he's got under his sleeve yet, so we'll have to wait and see.
I have to wait and see what happens. Everyone's got to check that out. That made me laugh so hard. I've literally watched that like 3-4 times. It's so fun. But
I know, to just take things too far, we don't like, we're not simple at all. Some of the phone calls we have, because obviously we do keep in contact quite often. We help each other out and all that lot. And it's just, well, you saw the one earlier on, it's just literally, he'll phone me out of the blue and he'll just start chatting waffle. Likewise, I'll phone him out of the blue and it's just, we know each other. We're not just as sellers, but we know each other as friends now. So it's kind of like, I know it sounds a bit cringe in that, but it is what it is. It's how it happens.
But that's what I want. How did you two become friends?
Oh, good question. Now you're testing my memory here. We've been friends, I want to say, since just after the first lockdown. I'm pretty sure he posted a charity shop TikTok before the lockdown, and I shared it to my story, because I thought, because he's a good content creator, he knows what he's doing. I shared it to my story, and it's kind of like we got chatting since then. I think I've bought something off him, and then it just kind of like stemmed from then. We was in a couple group chats together, and yeah, I want to say we started talking proper at the end of the first lockdown, to the point where like we're discussing like, you know, different items of stock. Like, oh, do you reckon this? What do you reckon I could get for this? And like, you know, we was giving each other like price checks on items and stuff like that, and like legit checks. So if I needed anything with Nike, I'd say to him, "Oh, do you reckon this Nike is legit?" He'd tell me, and then it kind of just went from there. It was like, I don't know how we exchanged phone numbers or anything like that, but it just kind of happened, and now it's like, you know, instead of texting, he'll just phone me for like a quick 2-minute chat about like a Nike t-shirt or something that he wants to buy, and he wants my opinion on it and that, and even just like a mess about.
Yeah. Have you got that kind of relationship, or anywhere near that kind of relationship with any other sellers?
Yeah, there's a couple of sellers. I'm in a group chat with a couple of other sellers that I do speak to them quite often, to the point where like we know each other, like we've got each other on Facebook and Snapchat and all our personal Instagrams and that. Obviously, I haven't met any of them in person just yet because of all this going on. It'd be nice to arrange something, but there is, you know, quite a few fellow sellers out there that I do know on a personal level, just like Callum, obviously.
And obviously, that's nice. Just on a social level, we got more people to speak to that are interested in the same thing. Then you've also got the part where you can just call up Callum and you two are helping each other out to make more money, or like not lose money. Yeah. I think that's a big thing that a lot of people don't necessarily capitalize on. All it takes is a share to the story, one message in the DM, and you never know what can happen from that. Yeah,
exactly. Like I remember the one time he's going around the car boots, and he found, I'm a Villa fan, Aston Villa fan. He's found a Villa top from like 2003, and he's like, just give me a phone. I've answered. He's like, oh yeah, I'm at the car boot. I found this Villa top. I'll send you a photo on Snapchat. How much do you reckon I can get for it? The person wants like £2 for it. So I've like, obviously, it's just stuff like that. If I'm ever in like a charity shop and I see like a Nike sweatshirt, you know, I'll just phone him, be like, how much do you reckon this is worth? Check your Snapchat. He'll open his Snap and he'll tell me on the spot. So I don't have to hang around waiting, you know, likewise doing me don't. Because if you can text someone, they could take half an hour to reply, and then you don't want to hang around in the charity shop for half an hour debating to buy this thing or not. So it's helpful to have obviously someone there, and you can build that relationship. And it, like you said, all it takes is just one message, one story reply, one shout out, and it could just happen from there.
Yeah. Well, before we go, have you got one piece of advice or just any sort of theory or whatever that you want to share with people that is either going to help them grow their Instagram or their Depop, or just help them handle their business a bit better from your experience?
Basically, just don't rush into things. Basically, take your time. Things will happen naturally by themselves. You don't need to compare yourself to other sellers. You do your own thing. Basically, you're never going to be as big as the top sellers if you want to, you know, just compare yourself to them. Just go at a steady pace that suits you, and literally just basically take your time. Don't rush into things.
Well, Jack, thank you very much for your time. It's been a good conversation. A lot of stuff that people can take out of here, and I'm looking forward to putting it out. Really.
Yeah, nice one, mate. Nice speaking to you, mate.
Really hope that you guys enjoyed that just as much as I did, speaking to Jack, aka liquidgarms. Again, all of his socials down in the description below, so be sure to check him out. Got a lot to show you, a lot of value to add and bring to your lives. Alright, but the things that I took away from this was one, the fact that he's working 2 jobs. Like I said, we've not really got people like that on the podcast before. I resonate with that myself, and I'm sure there's a lot of you out there that are dealing with that problem as well. It's not easy. It's really not easy, believe me, I know the struggles, but it seems like he's got a really good way of dealing with it in the way that he prioritises all of his time. When he's at lunch at work, he's not just thinking, let me take a break now. He's thinking, okay, don't have to do this, so let me jump back on my default work, so that when I go home, I've then got time to be taking pictures, and the work doesn't just pile up and stress him out. The other thing is the way that he's made really, really true connections to other sellers. And not only is that good for him in just a personal sense, in the fact that he's made friends and people that he can just call up and have a laugh with, but he's also got someone who's got different specialties to him. So he's someone who sells Nike. Alright, but he doesn't sell just Nike. He's not like the king of Nike. He doesn't know everything about it. Callum's cupboard does. He knows so much about that dead stock Nike. So whenever Jack finds one, gives Callum a call, and he knows what's going on. And it really is as simple as that. Let me know what your favourite part was down in the comments below. Please, please, please let us know what you loved about this podcast, and let us know anything else that you want us to bring to you.